If your mornings usually start with a rushed cup of coffee, a heavy, greasy breakfast, or worse, skipping food entirely until you crash at lunch, you are actively sabotaging your gut on a cellular level. And if you are watching this channel, you probably already know that a wrecked gut leads directly to a wrecked lower body. We are talking about severe bloating, constant straining, systemic inflammation, and yes, those painful hemorrhoid flare ups that most men simply suffer through in silence because society has conditioned us to never talk about them. Welcome back to the Core Foundation. Today we are talking about the ultimate foundational fuel for your digestive engine. We are breaking down the absolute best, most highly effective porridges and morning grains for a strong, bulletproof morning start. We are going to examine the exact biochemical reactions these foods trigger inside your body and how you can use them to literally rebuild your vascular system from the inside out. Let us set the stage first and understand the anatomy of the problem. Most men today are walking around with a severely compromised digestive tract. We have completely normalized waking up in a state of alarm, slamming a cup of highly acidic, mold-tainted black coffee on an empty stomach, sitting in stressful traffic, and then sitting motionless at a desk for 8, 10, or 12 straight hours. In this state, your body is trapped in chronic fight or flight mode. Your sympathetic nervous system is constantly engaged. When your body is perpetually stressed, your brain perceives a threat. It responds by pulling vital blood flow away from your digestive organs and routing it to your extremities. This means that whatever food you do manage to eat is sitting in a stagnant, unoptimized, highly acidic environment. Gastric emptying slows down to a crawl. The muscular contractions in your intestines, known as peristalsis, become weak and uncoordinated. Systemic inflammation rises, and the structural integrity of your lower body begins to fail under the pressure. Conditions like hemorrhoids are not just random, isolated, unlucky occurrences. They are a loud, glaring, mechanical warning sign from your body that your internal plumbing and your vascular system are under extreme, unsustainable pressure. Hemorrhoids are varicose veins of the lower body. When you are constipated, you strain. That mechanical straining increases intra-abdominal pressure to dangerous levels, forcing blood to pool in the fragile veins of your pelvic floor. Over time, those vein walls stretch, lose their elasticity, tear, and become painfully inflamed. Now I know exactly what you're thinking. Porridge? Isn't that just boring, tasteless mush for children or the elderly? Absolutely not. When prepared correctly, with the right biological ingredients and the right macronutrient profile, specific whole grains act like a targeted medical intervention for your digestive tract. They reduce acute tissue inflammation, regulate your bowel movement so you never have to strain again, and provide a slow, sustained, flatline release of energy that keeps your brain sharp and your body pushing hard at work and in the gym. But here is the massive catch that the food industry does not want you to know. Not all grains are created equal. In fact, some of the stuff sold in the supermarket aisles, heavily marketed and disguised as healthy, heart-healthy breakfast food, will actually cause catastrophic damage to your stomach lining. In this video, we are going deep. I am going to show you exactly which foundational grains you need to be eating, exactly what they do inside your biology on a cellular and microbial level, and how to prepare them so they taste incredible and heal your core. Let's start with the undisputed heavyweight champion of morning digestion, oatmeal. But hold on, I need to be aggressively clear here. I am not talking about those flavored, microwavable instant oat packets loaded with artificial apple cinnamon flavor and 20 to 30 grams of refined, highly processed sugar. Those instant packets are industrial garbage. The oat grain has been steamed, rolled paper thin, and pulverized so much that your body digests it instantly. It hits your bloodstream like a candy bar, spiking your insulin, crashing your energy an hour later, and feeding the pathogenic yeast in your gut. I am talking exclusively about intact, whole, steel-cut oats. Why are high-quality, minimally processed steel-cut oats so undeniably critical for men's health, gut lining repair, and lower body comfort? The answer lies in a highly specific structural carbohydrate, soluble fiber, specifically a compound known as beta-glucan. When you eat steel-cut oats, they do not just pass through your system like dead roughage. As they move through your highly acidic stomach and into your small intestine, they absorb massive amounts of water and form a thick, viscous, gel-like substance. I want you to visualize this beta-glucan gel acting as high-grade protective engine oil for your entire gastrointestinal tract. It physically coats the stomach lining, offering a protective, soothing barrier against excess stomach acid, which is vital if you suffer from acid reflux or gastritis. But the real magic happens when this gel reaches your large intestine. The human body actually cannot digest beta-glucan. Instead, it acts as a premium prebiotic. It literally serves as the primary food source for the beneficial strains of bacteria in your microbiome, specifically the bifidobacteria and lactobacilli strains. When these microscopic armies feed on the beta-glucan, they undergo a fermentation process. The byproduct of this fermentation is a class of molecules called short-chain fatty acids, with the most important one being butyrate. Butyrate is a biochemical miracle for the human body. It is the primary preferred energy source for the colonocytes, the cells that make up the lining of your colon. When your colon cells have abundant butyrate, they become strong, tightly packed, and highly efficient. Butyrate acts as a powerful, naturally occurring, localized anti-inflammatory agent. By feeding your gut steel-cut oats, you are literally generating your own internal anti-inflammatory medicine, which circulates through your bloodstream and directly lowers the systemic inflammation in the swollen, damaged tissues of your lower half. Furthermore, this heavy, hydrated gel softens your stool, making it bulky, cohesive, and incredibly easy to pass. It triggers the stretch receptors in your colon, telling your body it is time to effortlessly evacuate. No straining, no mechanical pressure, no forced blood pooling in the pelvic floor. Just smooth, painless function. To make this work, you must prepare it optimally. To build a true core foundation breakfast, you have to neutralize the phytic acid in the oats. Phytic acid is an anti-nutrient that binds to minerals like zinc and magnesium, preventing your body from absorbing them. To deactivate it, you must soak your steel-cut oats in warm water with a splash of apple cider vinegar the night before. In the morning, rinse them and cook them slowly on the stove. Once they are thick and creamy, stir in a tablespoon of freshly ground flax seeds. Flax seeds produce their own mucilage, compounding the lubricating effects of the oats, and they deliver a massive payload of anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids. Next, add a handful of fresh berries. I am a massive advocate for fresh strawberries, specifically hydroponically grown strawberries, if you can source them or even grow them yourself. Traditional soil-grown strawberries are often heavily sprayed with harsh pesticides that act as antibiotics in your stomach, wiping out the very gut flora you are trying to cultivate. Hydroponic strawberries give you a perfectly clean, uncorrupted dose of vitamin C, which your body absolutely requires to synthesize new collagen and repair those torn vascular walls in your lower body. Finally, add a heavy scoop of pure roasted almond butter or a handful of crushed raw walnuts for vital dietary fats that build your cellular membranes. Moving on to number 2. This is a robust super grain that most men in the West completely ignore, but it has been an absolute, undeniable foundational staple in Eastern Europe for centuries. I am talking about buckwheat. Despite the confusing name, buckwheat is not actually wheat at all. It has zero relation to modern hybridized dwarf wheat. It is a pseudo-cereal, a triangular seed related to the rhubarb plant, which means it is 100% naturally gluten-free. If you are someone whose stomach gets heavily bloated, distended, painfully gassy, or severely inflamed after eating regular commercial bread, bagels, or pasta, buckwheat is your ultimate healing escape route. But why is it on the top tier list for this channel specifically? Why does it matter so much for the mechanical function of your core and the integrity of your pelvic floor? Because buckwheat is an absolute powerhouse of two critical, life-changing elements, rutin and magnesium. Let's break down the deep science of rutin. Rutin is a highly potent bioflavonoid, a complex plant compound that specifically targets, tones, and strengthens the endothelial cells that line your blood vessels. Remember this fundamental truth. Hemorrhoids are not just a digestive issue, they are a severe vascular issue. They are varicose veins of the lower digestive tract, swollen, weak, compromised blood vessels that have completely lost their structural elasticity. When you consume foods incredibly rich in rutin, like roasted buckwheat, you are actively, chemically reinforcing the structural walls of those exact veins. Rutin helps to cross-link the collagen fibers within the blood vessel walls, restoring their elasticity, stopping internal bleeding, and making them vastly more resilient to the physical pressure of sitting, lifting heavy weights, or using the bathroom. Coupled with rutin is a massive dose of naturally occurring magnesium. Modern soils are depleted of magnesium, and most men are severely deficient. Magnesium is responsible for over 300 critical biochemical enzymatic reactions in the human body. In the context of your gut, magnesium acts as a profound, natural, smooth muscle relaxant. Your intestines are essentially one long, continuous, smooth muscle. When you are deficient in magnesium, that muscle twitches, spasms, and cramps, trapping gas and causing sharp, stabbing abdominal pain. Buckwheat delivers highly bioavailable magnesium that instantly relaxes the intestinal wall, promoting smooth, rhythmic contractions that move waste efficiently without causing trauma to the system. How to prepare buckwheat for maximum biological impact. Buckwheat has an amazing, deep, earthy, roasted, nutty flavor, and unlike oatmeal, it works incredibly well as a heavy, savory breakfast. This is a game changer if you want to avoid morning sugar entirely. First, you must take your roasted buckwheat groats, also known as kasha, and rinse them thoroughly under cold running water to remove the dusty starch. Instead of boiling it in plain, dead tap water, you are going to boil it in high-quality, slow-simmered bone broth. Bone broth is packed with specific amino acids, namely glycine, proline, and glutamine. Glutamine is the preferred fuel for the enterocytes of the small intestine, actively repairing leaky gut syndrome and sealing the tight junctions of your intestinal wall. Boil the buckwheat in the bone broth until the liquid is absorbed and the grains are fluffy, separate, and tender. Once plated, heavily drizzle a tablespoon of high-quality, cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil over the top. Olive oil provides oleic acid, which lubricates the digestive tract and triggers the release of bile from your gallbladder, aiding in the breakdown of fats. Add a heavy pinch of mineral-rich, unrefined Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt to replenish your electrolytes. Finally, place a beautifully soft-boiled or delicately poached egg right on top of the steaming grains. When you break the egg, the liquid golden yolk acts as a rich, creamy, nutrient-dense sauce packed with choline for your brain. This meal is heavy in bioavailable protein, massive on gut healing, incredibly satisfying, and it keeps your blood vessels remarkably strong and elastic all day long. Let us introduce a vital, ancient bonus grain here, one that rarely gets the mainstream spotlight but is a tactical secret weapon for men dealing with excess stomach acid, ulcerations, and severe burning gut damage. Millet. Millet is an incredibly resilient, ancient, highly alkaline seed. Most men today have highly acidic, inflamed digestive tracts. Between the constant intake of black coffee, cheap processed meats, the relentless flood of stress cortisol, and the daily bombardment of refined carbohydrates, your stomach environment becomes a highly acidic, hostile war zone. This chronic acidity leads to severe acid reflux, GERD, heartburn, and a burning inflammatory sensation deep in the lower GI tract. Millet acts as a profound, soothing cooling agent. Because it metabolizes into a highly alkaline ash in the body, it actively buffers and soothes the inflamed stomach lining. Furthermore, it is scientifically proven to be one of the easiest, most gentle grains on the entire planet for the human digestive system to break down and assimilate. It requires very little digestive energy, meaning your overworked body can finally focus its metabolic resources on healing torn tissue, rather than grinding down heavy, complex, hard-to-digest food. To prepare millet for a deeply healing morning bowl, you must first toast the dry, raw grains in a dry skillet over medium heat for 3 to 4 minutes until they turn a shade darker and smell richly nutty. This toasting process cracks the outer hull and enhances the digestibility. Then, transfer the toasted millet to a pot and simmer it gently in unsweetened, full-fat coconut milk. The medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs, found in coconut milk bypass standard fat digestion. They go straight to the liver to provide instant, clean, ketone energy for your brain. Moreover, coconut contains lauric acid, which possesses powerful, natural antimicrobial, antifungal, and antiviral properties that help systematically clear out pathogenic bad bacteria in the gut while leaving the good bacteria intact. Top your perfectly cooked millet porridge with a handful of raw, crushed macadamia nuts for a massive hit of monounsaturated fats and a heavy pinch of ground cardamom. Cardamom is an ancient Ayurvedic spice proven to act as a carminative, meaning it actively prevents the formation of gas in the gastrointestinal tract and facilitates the expulsion of trapped gas, instantly relieving pressure on your pelvic floor. Finally, we arrive at our last powerhouse morning base, a food that commands total respect: quinoa. Now, quinoa has been relentlessly called a superfood for years by the mainstream fitness and diet industry. But let's completely strip away the commercial marketing hype and look at the hard, undeniable mechanics of what it actually does for a physically damaged body. Like buckwheat, quinoa is an ancient seed originating from the Andes Mountains, but it holds a very rare, very special biological title in the plant kingdom. It is one of the very few plant based foods on Earth that qualifies as a complete protein. This means it contains adequate proportions of all 9 essential amino acids, including leucine, isoleucine, and valine, that your body cannot synthesize on its own and absolutely must obtain through diet. When you are recovering from severe physical trauma, whether that is a brutal heavy deadlift and squat session at the gym that heavily taxed your central nervous system and broke down muscle fibers, or whether you are recovering from a painful hemorrhoid flare up that resulted in torn, bleeding vascular tissue in your lower body, your body desperately needs raw amino acids to rebuild those damaged cells. Quinoa delivers this massive, easily assimilated payload of cellular building blocks without the heavy, sluggish, energy draining digestive tax of eating a massive, tough steak first thing in the morning. It is also incredibly high in complex anti inflammatory phytonutrients and a specific, highly researched antioxidant called quercetin. Quercetin acts as a systemic scavenger, actively hunting down free radicals in the bloodstream, neutralizing oxidative stress, and dramatically lowering deep tissue inflammation across your entire body. But here's the critical warning. There is one massive, extremely common mistake people make with quinoa that ruins the entire experience and actively damages the gut. They completely forget to wash it. Quinoa grows with a natural, highly bitter, toxic protective resin coating called saponin. It is nature's built-in pesticide designed to keep birds and insects from eating the seeds. Saponins are essentially chemical detergents. If you do not wash them off, they taste incredibly bitter. They foam up in the pot like dish soap, and when they enter your digestive tract, they punch microscopic holes in the mucosal lining of your intestines. This directly causes leaky gut syndrome, allowing undigested food particles to enter your bloodstream and trigger massive autoimmune inflammation. You must always, without fail, aggressively rinse your quinoa in a fine mesh sieve under cold, high pressure running water for at least 60 to 90 seconds until the water runs completely clear and stops foaming. For a highly functional, anti inflammatory breakfast porridge, boil the meticulously rinsed quinoa in unsweetened almond milk. As it simmers, stir in a heavy dash of real Ceylon cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon is a master metabolic spice for blood sugar control, slowing gastric emptying and ensuring you get absolutely no insulin spikes, which prevents the mid morning energy crash. For an added, heavy duty anti inflammatory boost, add a quarter teaspoon of organic ground turmeric root. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of the most powerful natural anti inflammatories on Earth, capable of blocking the COX2 inflammatory enzymes in the body. But curcumin is poorly absorbed on its own. You must add a tiny pinch of freshly ground black pepper. The piperine in the black pepper acts as a bioenhancer, literally increasing the cellular absorption of the turmeric by over 2,000%. Finally, top this golden quinoa bowl with a handful of raw pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds provide a huge dose of bioavailable dietary zinc, which is absolutely vital for men's natural testosterone production, immune system function, and the rapid healing of torn, damaged physical tissues. Before we wrap up this massive, comprehensive deep dive, we need to establish the absolute non negotiable ground rules of the core foundation. You can take the healthiest, most perfectly prepared organic steel cut oats, roasted buckwheat, alkaline millet, or complete protein quinoa in the world, and you will completely, utterly destroy every single one of their profound healing benefits if you blindly add the wrong commercial toppings. If you want to permanently protect your gut lining, keep your systemic inflammation at absolute zero, and finally conquer your lower body issues once and for all, you must ruthlessly, without exception, avoid these 4 toxic elements in your morning bowl. Number 1, refined white sugar. Sugar is the ultimate, undisputed enemy of a healthy, functioning microbiome. It provides zero nutritional value and directly, rapidly feeds the pathogenic bad bacteria and harmful yeasts, like Candida albicans, in your gut. As these bad bacteria gorge on the refined sugar, they rapidly multiply and release toxic byproducts that cause immediate, massive systemic inflammation. This inflammation chemically stiffens your blood vessels, raises your blood pressure, destroys your natural immune response, and guarantees that your lower body stays swollen and painful. If you desperately need a touch of sweetness to make the porridge palatable, use a very small, controlled amount of raw, unpasteurized, locally sourced honey, which contains natural antibacterial enzymes, or pure, 100% real, grade A maple syrup. Number 2. Artificial syrups and chemical sweeteners. Do not be fooled for a second by the deceptive, marketing driven zero-calorie labels. Those thick, artificial syrups sold in the diet aisle are packed with synthetic chemical sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, and saccharin. Clinical science has repeatedly shown that these synthetic chemicals confuse your brain's reward centers, heavily disrupt your natural insulin response despite having no calories, and act like a literal nuclear bomb on your gut microbiome. They actively wipe out the diverse, beneficial strains of bacteria you are trying so hard to cultivate, leaving your digestive tract vulnerable to infection, inflammation, and chronic motility issues. Stay entirely away from them. Number 3. Heavy, commercial, mass-produced dairy. For a huge percentage of adult men, cheap commercial cow's milk is a massive, unrecognized trigger for chronic daily inflammation. Modern commercial milk contains a highly mutated protein called A1 beta-casein alongside a heavy load of lactose sugar, which the vast majority of adult digestive systems simply lack the lactase enzyme to break down effectively. Consuming this leads to heavy internal mucus production, severe, painful bloating, trapped sulfur gas, and unpredictable, explosive diarrhea. All of these symptoms put immense, violent mechanical pressure on your pelvic floor and guarantee that your hemorrhoids will never have the peace they need to shrink and heal. Swap it out entirely, stick to filtered water, deeply nourishing bone broth for your savory bowls, or clean single ingredient nut milks like almond, coconut, or macadamia milk that contain absolutely no gums or thickeners. Number 4. Industrial, highly processed seed oils. You have to become a relentless detective and read your ingredient labels. A shocking amount of store-bought oat milks, supposedly healthy granolas, and commercial nut butters are cut with cheap, highly inflammatory, artificially extracted oils like canola oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil, or cottonseed oil. These oils are extracted in massive industrial factories using harsh chemical solvents like hexane and then subjected to extreme deodorizing heat. This process makes the polyunsaturated fats highly unstable and deeply oxidative. When you consume them, they trigger a massive, cascading inflammatory response deep within your cellular biology, stiffening your cell membranes and promoting arterial inflammation. If you are adding necessary fats to your morning bowl to slow digestion and absorb vitamins, stick exclusively to pure, cold-pressed, single-source fats, whole raw nuts, whole seeds, extra virgin cold-pressed olive oil, virgin coconut oil, or, if your body fully tolerates pristine dairy fat, purely grass-fed clarified butter known as ghee, which has the milk solids completely removed. Building a resilient, pain-free, highly functional body does not happen by accident, and it certainly does not happen overnight by taking a magic pill. It happens by taking absolute ownership of your biology and making strategic, intelligent, uncompromising choices every single morning. By permanently swapping out heavy, processed, biologically damaging breakfasts for high-quality, perfectly prepared, nutrient-dense oats, buckwheat, millet, or quinoa, you are laying down the ultimate, unbreakable physiological foundation. You are actively engineering an internal environment optimized for smooth, effortless digestion, remarkably strong and elastic blood vessels, and a life entirely free from lower body pain, anxiety, and embarrassment. I challenge you to execute this protocol for just 14 unbroken days. Pick 2 of these specific porridges, source the best ingredients you can find, prep them exactly as we discussed, using the soaking and rinsing methods. Ruthlessly remove the refined sugar, remove the toxic commercial dairy, eliminate the seed oils, and simply observe how your body feels by lunchtime. See how your mental energy stabilizes without the crash, and intimately notice how much easier, faster, and more painless your trips to the bathroom become. I want to hear from you down in the comments. Which of these highly functional grains are you going to commit to trying first? Are you going to go with the classic fiber-heavy sweet steel-cut oats, or are you going to step out of your comfort zone and try the intensely savory, collagen-rich, bone broth buckwheat? Drop a comment down below and let's get a real discussion going about what is actually working for you. If you found this massive, uncompromising breakdown helpful, Hit the like button, subscribe to the Core Foundation, and share this video directly with a guy who you know needs to hear this truth. It's time to stop ignoring our health, stop suffering in complete silence, and start building true power from the inside out. I'll see you in the next video.